Hello everybody, and today's project is making my filter for my new shrimp pond. It'll be one of my DIY builds with PVC and my most favorite pump ever made, the Eco Plus 396. So we don't need crazy flow since it is just going to be a shrimp pond, but it is going to be 100 gallons. So I think 396 gallons an hour and a 100 gallon stock tank ought to be pretty good. Oh, and my supervisors are here, making sure I don't mess up. All right. Just like sitting in the middle of the floor watching me. And there's Zoe. She heard someone outside and she's worried about that right now. So what we're going to do here is we're going to make a spray bar that is going across the back here. I'm going to have some of it pointing up and some of it pointing down and some of it pointing to the side, so that'll be fun. I'm going to try some new things with the spray bar and hole drilling, and then thanks for the focus here. What in the world? Good grief, it took me like 3 minutes to get my thing to focus again. But that's what we're going to do, and we're going to do a leak test because these stock tanks, if you're going to put one in your house and use it in this kind of situation, I did it with the guppy pond years ago, and we're losing focus again. Good grief. All right, let's try it again. So we're going to do a leak test, and where these things fail, I mean, if you're just using them outside as a stock tank, I guess a little dribble ain't a big deal. But I've used the same stuff I used on the guppy pond when I set up like 5 years ago. It is the construction adhesive polyurethane sealant. I've never had any problems using it. I have used it on several of my builds and stuff over the years, and it holds. Heck, my outside in-ground pond was built like 11 years ago now, I think, at this point. And a lot of it is held together with this, and none of that stuff has ever failed. Outside, freezing, thawing. So I put a bead around that on the inside and a bead around the outside, and I put, this is a nice drain, and I put Teflon tape on the part, so the drain is still workable. I just got it on there, cranked on there real tight with Teflon tape, and so hopefully that will do that. But back to the filter. Let's get started on it. So when you get these Eco Plus pumps, 396 model, they come out of the box looking like this, and they come with some cool fittings and stuff like this. I've used them before, but you can use them, but I like to do them for some. I like to do my own thing with PVC, custom build, and so they come with this, and this has just got a pre-filter on here, which is fine and dandy, but we're not using that either. So we have a threaded 3/4 inch output and a threaded 3/4 inch input, and I get these threaded to slip fittings, and this is the first thing I do. Come on there good and tight, and so I always buy 2 of these with these pumps. And then I usually don't glue the input side because you got to take it off and clean it. The output side I glue because you don't want it popping off and shooting water or leaking. So that's what we do with that. So this is the pump, and those are the fittings that go on the pump. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Must be something with the sun and the glare off that stock tank making it not want to focus, because it was doing it to me again. So our spray bar is going to be about from here to here, and we're looking at 30 inches ought to be good, I do believe. So it'll end up being a little bit more, because we're going to cut that 30 inches in the middle and put it, so I guess I'll go ahead and cut two 15-inch pieces, and that'll get us started on the spray bar. Alright, we got our measuring device, and this ain't got to be exact, but you know, usually I'm in the camp of good enough. So there's a roughly 15 inches. And we got this. You don't have to have stuff like these. You can, I used to use a hacksaw, but a good PVC cutter is going to make your life much easier. These things are pretty nice. And this one will get old, so it's not super sharp anymore. And there we have it, 15 inches. So we know this is the right size, so we're gonna get our pen out and measure it so that it is the same size. And then we'll make another cut there. And we'll have two pieces that are pretty close to the same size. Alright, so then what we're looking at doing is we need our T, and we're not going to glue any of this until we confirm that everything fits. And then so this will be the spray bar. We'll drill spray holes in there, and then this T will be coming down to the pump. So the next thing we're going to need to do is make our things so it goes over the side of the pond, and this is what's going to hold it in place. So we got an elbow here, then we're going to have another piece of PVC going to here, then we'll have an elbow there, and this will go over the side, and then there'll be another elbow here, and this will create a hook, and then there'll be another piece of PVC and a cap. And I'll show you how we're going to do that. So what I'm going to do is I want most of the water to be shooting down and across the pond, but I want to have a couple holes at the top shooting up towards the surface, so that we are breaking the surface and having some kind of surface agitation, so we don't want it too far down in there. And I measured along this ridge here, and so roughly we need it to be about 5 inches, and that'll be a little bit more because you have the fittings and all that stuff. So when you count into that, so we're gonna, it'll be a little less by the time you put the fittings on the pipe. So the next piece of PVC we want to cut will be about 5.5 inches, and we're going to need 2 of those. So I decided I'm going to do roughly about 6 inches, and the good thing is if you cut it too long, you can always cut it shorter, but if you cut it too short, it's just wasted. And mind you, I am not a plumber, I'm not even a handyman. I just have figured this stuff out on my own, and usually do good enough. And I've definitely got better over the years and have had pretty good luck doing this with my DIY PVC filters. The one that took the Guppy Pond filter took a lot of different reiterations before I got one that was worked for a long time like the current iteration has. And so we need 2 of these. So we're going to do the same thing that we did this last one. And put another mark right there. And alright, so then we've got those pieces. They're pretty much the same size. So now we've got this here, the T pointing down. And we need another elbow on this side, pointing up. And again, we're just dry fitting everything. And so we got these 6-inch pieces we just cut. Got that there. Got that there. And now we need another elbow. Like so. Another elbow. Like so. Alright, trying to get my microphone cord out of the way. And it don't want to cooperate. You know, normally I'd be getting pretty mad about that. But it's new pond day. Alright, so then we need a couple more little pieces to go over the side of the pond. So when you're doing a tank, you just want enough to put 2 fittings together. So there's going to be another piece there and another piece going like this, and this will come out the back of the pond, and that will form a hook that the spray bar can rest on. So, and this, I guess the pond is a little bit wider, so we'll probably do 3 inches, 2 or 3 inches maybe, 2 inches. You still got the fittings and all that. I think that would be wide enough to go over the side of the pond. So let's cut a couple 2-3 inch pieces. Let's do that. So I guess the point of this is anyone, even someone like me, who's not even a handy person really, can figure this out. It's not that difficult, and I am showing you all how this can be done. Super easy. Cut our 3-inch piece. I think I said 2 or 3. I ended up going to 3. Because like I said, if you screw up and make it too long, you can trim it up. And my cuts ain't that square, but it's not like this is all going to be self-contained other than the little bits. And PVC is very forgiving. Very forgiving. This is not an exact science here. This is eyeball it in. So we ain't to the gluing part yet. So then we got our little pieces that'll go over the top of the pond right here. Okay. So we put one on this side, like so. One on this side, like so. And then we need another elbow on each side like this. Another elbow on the other side. Like this. And then this will hang over, but we still need to finish our hook and have one coming down on this on both sides. So I did what, 5 inches on that on the first side, so we'll do 5 inches on the other. How's that sound? I think that sounds just fine, because this one is really not exact. You just want this to hang off the side. So we'll go with 5 inches. Alright. We said 5 inches, I believe. Make sure that's on the video for you guys to see. So, I know many of you already know how to do this, but I'm doing this for the people who don't, because I had to figure it out on my own with some ideas from others online and videos. And like I said, the Guppy Pond has been through several iterations in this kind of basic design. This is pretty much going to be the same design as I have on one of my 40-gallon tank that's full of super red plecos and jungle valve. Same pump, except since a lot bigger spray bar. And we want this to be the same length. And we're going to cut another 5-inch piece. That first cut in there is usually, this is gonna have to get old. And when you do that last snap, be careful you don't get your pinky in there like that, or like this part of your hand. I've done that before, and you can pinch the hell out of yourself, and it hurts like a, yeah, you'll be cussing if that happens. So another thing to be careful of when you're using these PVC cutters like that. I promise the spray bar's almost done. We'll put this guy on here, and then on the other side, right here. It's kind of weird when you're doing this through the eyes of the camera, not my own eyes. And then we have our caps, and this will keep this part. You got to make sure you glue this part and get this on right, because if you mess this up, this will leak and get water all over your floor. So that's the only little kind of scary part about this, but it's PVC and it's super easy. There's nothing to be worried about. Alright, so the spray bar is roughed in. And mind you, nothing's glued. So let's see how it fits on here, and we'll make changes if we need to. And it looks like it's hanging down just a little bit further. I should have done 4 inches instead of 5 inches. I probably should have done 3.5 inches. So I'm going to go ahead and trim each side up just a little bit. And something else I'm seeing here that kind of makes me nervous is, if you see, this is going to come straight down, and that's where the pump is going to try to be to. So I might have to figure out something else there. I'm not sure. Might have to put another little elbow in there, which I don't like to do, but it's just shrimp pond. We don't need lots of flow, and we'll figure it out. So, or maybe I could put a coupler in here and move the T over here to where this little ridge deal right here is not sticking out. I could put it so that it goes over there, but then we'll have uneven flow on the spray bar part. So I'll probably just do an elbow, and so the pump will be sitting right here in front of that. Put a little elbow out here or on the pump so that it's, we'll see. We will see. That's the good thing about this. PVC is so easy, and just make sure you don't cut it too short, cut it too long, and then shorten it up later. And PVC is cheap. I got a 10-foot section for like less than $4, so it's not the end of the world if you get a little bit of trash to throw away. We don't want to waste too much of it, but it's cheap and easy, and you can do whatever you want with it. That's what makes it so awesome. Alright, and after a few little cut-offs, about this size piece off each side, now we're about where we're at. I think I could live with that. I think I could. Another option we have here, and I might try that to deal with this issue here that I talked about in the pump, is we can make these pieces a little bit longer so then this sticks out, because we're almost there already. I think we're pretty close, so I don't know. Let's see how it works. Next piece is going to be cutting that vertical piece that goes from the pump to the spray bar, and then we'll see where we're at with that. We'll see how far off we are, and if we need to, I think the best option might just be to do that, to cut a couple pieces. This one and this one that's a little longer, so then this goes straight down. And it might be, because you can tell there's already a gap here, it might just need to be a little bit longer. Something I didn't have plans on, but as we fix problems and make changes as we encounter them. It's all part of DIYing. So let's see what we can do. First we'll cut that vertical piece. So we need, the pump is going to be sitting something like this. Let's see. So then we're going to need roughly, now again this is rough, I'm going to make sure I cut this a little longer than we need it. So it'd be nice if I knew how to use a tape measure. So we're looking at about 14.5 maybe, so I'll cut it for 15, or just a little under 15, and see where that takes us. Okay, so we went with 14 3/4 roughly. So then this guy is gonna go down into there like that, and then this guy is gonna go like that roughly. But it looks like we need to take off about we'll just cut off a sliver and see where that gets us. So without even measuring, I cut off a piece that big. Might need to cut off a little bit more than that, but we'll see. I think, yeah, if we got that thing coming out just a little bit more, then we're going to be golden, I do believe. So roughly, and then we'll make these pieces just a little bit longer, and we'll have that guy roughed in pretty good. And then the next bit is going to be drilling the spray bar holes through here, after we get this perfected a little bit more. Alright, roughed in phase completed. Now we gotta drill a bunch of holes. Well, we still gotta do the intake. And I guess we can rough that in next, and then we'll do the finishing parts where we drill holes and glue it all together. I don't know if I'm going to show gluing it because, you know, it is what it is. But there you have it. That is the pump and how it's going to come out of this spray bar. So, and then you guys can see, I'll show you guys the intake side next. Okay, so for the intake side, this is nice and easy. Now, I don't know exactly how long to make this because apparently they don't make my ATI size sponges anymore. They're nowhere to be found online. I saw 2 of them on Amazon for like 20 bucks a piece, and I'm not paying that. So I have to figure out another sponge situation. But for the time being, and I want to stick with what I know, because sponge filters, if you get too fine in this kind of an application, it's going to suck real bad because it's just going to clog up. So I know the AquaClear 110 square foam pieces will work just fine. So I'm going to poke a hole right down the middle of that, and that will be my intake side. That'll be the actual filtration here. So all I did is, one of them pieces that we cut too long up here, or too short and made longer ones, this is one of the short, this is one of the ones that I replaced. And we have PVC pipe, and it's just estimated. I'll have to cut that later. And then we have a cap on the end. Now none of this part, none of this stuff will be glued. And then this just goes like so. So that's probably way too tall. I'll go ahead and cut a little bit of that off. Alright, so we got a little shorter piece. Let's see if this one's going to work. And we have a winner. We have a winner. So, how this is going to work is there will be, get this a little bit up for you. There's going to be a bunch of holes drilled all the way through this. And then there will be filter sponges going over the top of it, and then the water will flow in through the sponges into the pump, and there'll be holes drilled in certain spots however I want to flow the water, and then the pump will pump it up through the holes, and then since this is all capped off, they'll provide the pressure for the water to shoot out. Now I don't want it shooting out everywhere real hard. I don't want a bunch of current. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to make a whole bunch of holes in this so the water just comes, getting evenly dispersed throughout the whole spray bar, hopefully. And I do want to have a couple that are pointing up. Now, like I said, I don't want a bunch of pressure, so I don't want water shooting up out of the pond. But I will make a couple pointing up, just to break the water surface and create a little bit of agitation there. So there you have it. Now we gotta finish the finer parts of it. This is the main design. And now we gotta do all the stuff we gotta do to make it work. Okay, so after going through and seeing how much video I've already had just doing that, didn't seem like a lot when I was doing it, but we're almost up to half hour already. So I'm gonna have to do this video in 2 parts. Part 1, this part will be the design and roughing it in, and then part 2 will be finishing up and doing all the other stuff to get it working. So stay tuned for part 2. It'll be out in the next day or 2 after this one. Thank you guys for watching. Bye.